Thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful to Rosa for her unbelievable advocacy, for her constant championing of women's rights, of equality for all, and for families, and for the kind of support that the modern day workforce actually needs. Rosa is an unbelievable champion, and I feel privileged that I get to work with her. I also want to recognize Deborah Ness from the National Partnership for Women and Families, Neera Tandon from the Center of American Progress, Annette Bonilla, the Environmental Science Associates, Tom Nides, Morgan Stanley, Grant Dotson, who owns a business and is going to talk about his small business. So I just want to thank you all for the collective efforts every single person here has made to make this piece of legislation a reality. As we are looking for ways to help the economy grow, as we're looking for ways to untap potential within our economy and throughout our country, the answer is very simple. You have to empower nearly 50% of the workforce. The women of the workforce need to be able to reach their full economic potential if you ever expect America to reach her economic potential. So it means that every woman who wants to be working can be working, and every woman who wants to be in the workforce earning a paycheck can earn that full paycheck. And for anyone here who's ever had a baby, for anyone here who's ever had a family member who was gravely ill, you know how important this flexibility is. You know personally that aching feeling you feel when you can't be in two places at once, when you actually can't meet the needs of your loved one or your baby, but you also have to meet needs of your employer. And that is what this is all about. It's about meeting the needs of our economy, our workforce, and our families. No worker should have to choose between their loved one and their employer, doing their best as a mother or as a child and doing their best as a worker. We can find the solution that makes it possible for them to do both well. So we need to make sure that this protection is in place, because the reality is if a woman does need that flexibility for a baby or for her mother who's dying and can't get it from her employer, too often she will have to come out of the workforce, either quit that job or work less hours or not be up for a promotion. She will diminish her possibility and her employability because she needs that flexibility. And too often when the woman takes that time off or somehow sidesteps her current career path, she loses out on opportunity. She loses out on potential pay, potential promotion, and that's why our economy hurts because of it. So we need to make sure that we can put in place paid family medical leave, because we have to keep some of the most highly skilled and hardest workers in the workforce. Without it, we lose them. This is not a Democratic idea. It's not a Republican idea. It is a common sense idea that focuses on America's strongest asset, our people, our workforce, our entrepreneurs. So we have to change our policies to reflect that so much of our workforce are women and that our families are an important component of how women do in the workforce. Now, the Paid Family Medical Leave Act that we have today is obviously unpaid. It has job protection for serious health events, but only about half of the workforce even qualifies for this unpaid leave, and many more actually just can't afford to take the time off. In fact, only 12% of workers in the U.S. have access to paid family leave through their employers, and less than 40% of all workers have access to personal medical leave through employer-provided temporary disability insurance. So Congress can and should do much more to support these families within the workforce, and so we should expand paid family medical leave. Now, this legislation, as Rosa described perfectly, is self-funded. It doesn't add one dime to the deficit. It's modeled after successful state examples all around the country, and it just works by establishing an independent trust fund supported by the employee and the employer, contributions of a very small amount of the wages. For the average employee, it's the cost of a cup of coffee a week. Wouldn't you want to invest the cost of a cup of coffee a week to have this flexibility? And as an employer, wouldn't you want your employees to have this flexibility so that you can retain your best workforce? So I think this is something that is obvious. It is something that makes enormous sense, and it's something that actually addresses the reality of our workforce today. This is the kind of common sense legislation Congress should be working on, As I said, it's not a Democratic or Republican idea. It's just a good idea that actually strengthens our workforce and strengthens our economy.